So now, judges, how important when writing comedy is the premise, would you say? And finding a good premise, and where do good premises come from, and how to avoid getting into a hack style premise like airplane food or something along those lines, and and like, so just tell me a little bit about the premise in joke writing.
It's a great question, because it is easy to fall into the hack part of that, and the premise is important because that's what's setting up the joke. So where do you pull that from? I think your example is great, pulling it just from everyday life, not just making stuff up. Not that there's anything wrong with making stuff up. That's a skill in itself that I couldn't do. You know, I'm much like you. I just conversational. I pull shit out of my daily life and just present it in a way that I think might be funny to everyone. So it's difficult because you don't want to fall in. It could be easy to fall into that hack part because people laugh.
Right, yeah,
it's easy to get that laugh. So the premise is, I don't want to say it's as important as the punchline, because the punchline is why you're there. That's why you're getting paid. But the premise is important because you want something that's going to be interesting, sometimes topical, and personal to you, which is real important. That's my opinion.
I agree. And
There's Mike Dillon.
That's Mike Dillon. So there's a show going on in the Little Room tonight, which I believe you're performing at, right?
Yes,
the headlining.
Headline. Oh, so there's comedians all over the place, and in the studio's glass wall. So if you see us looking around, waving to people, or it's just our
fans.
Comedian friends and our fan base just coming out here and saying hi. So Tony, with the premise thing, what's your take on finding a good premise? Is it something that you think about, or are you more like in the line of like going with your normal life and then the premise just comes natural?
Well, no, that I agree with what Darren said. You can easily end up in the hack territory. And for the kind of comedy that I write, being that I'm not stand-up, I have a comedy troupe that I work with. It's a little different for us because we're not just doing setup punchline. You know, we have a whole scripted show, and it's, you know, there's a whole plot involved. But I identify with the line of thinking because it's all comedy at the end. So, and it's hard because it's very hard to stay out of the hack world because you like you said, you think you get a laugh, you think you can just kind of go with it, and you end up staying there. You're not improving. It's tough. I don't know so much about premise, but I think that's why I gave Mandy a 10 over giving Josh a 9, because the whole setup, like Darren said,
it felt real.
It felt real, and it felt like you were just talking to your buddy, and you get hit with, a couple of jokes. I know writing our shows, we fall into that. Let me write a couple of lines for these people to set up the one laugh joke, right. Which it took me years to kind of get through that. And we definitely had shows that were hackish in the beginning. I don't know if that's a word, but I just made it up.
I like it.
And it took us years to get to where I think we are, which is at a pretty good level. So yeah, the whole thing is hard, you have to be able to. And we've talked about it. I think we even talked about it last week. You have to be able to take the critique and the criticism, and maybe even a bombing once in a while, because otherwise you're going to think you're good.
And that's how you evolve and keep growing. You have to have those little
things. The only way to grow is to bomb.
Yep.
It's very cathartic.
Yeah, absolutely, sure.
Exactly. And Key, how about you when it comes to writing premises?
Well, when it comes to writing premises, I believe also in taking it from real life, because that's what keeps it true to life. It keeps your unique perspective on it. So you won't fall into the hack necessarily if you're considering your own unique premise on it. Yeah, again, it is very easy to fall into the hack. Everybody likes to, because again, you're getting that instant gratification of the laugh. But if you look at it in a different view, or just look at it from a different angle, you can introduce something completely different that nobody else has ever said about something very similar to what everybody else discusses. So premise is a very big deal for me.
Premise is a big deal, and that's what leads us